Okay, NAL 2022 season, stage number 1, playdate number 3 predictions. That's going to be this third column here. So April 5th, again, day number 3. So we have TSM versus Mirage, Space Station versus Astralis, Oxygen versus Beast Coast, Sonics versus Xset, Dark Zero versus Parabellum. So in the previous prediction video, I think it was, I was talking about, I'm not sure if there was ever going to be another day that's all top 5s versus bottom 5s, and well, you know, that classic top 5 that we have going on versus bottom 5 thing. It's not exactly top 5 in the standings versus bottom 5 in the standings. But I failed to look at this very next day. We were on, I think, Playdate 2, and then Playdate number 3 had this going on as well. I think I did put a little note on the screen that said that indeed Playdate 3 had this going on. So that is what we do have going on. Sonics are unfortunately dead last in the standings right now, but you know, it's very, very likely for them to bounce back and get a good number of wins, and that might start today. But okay, let's start with TSM versus Mirage at the top here. Yeah, I mean, we've had a lot of really skewed predictions on CGG, and this might be the most skewed one. I mean, it's pretty hard to beat a 97-3 for SSG versus Mirage, but if there's one org that can beat that, it is probably TSM against Mirage, you know, the team that had only 3% of the vote. Pretty much just about everyone is going to pick TSM. Like, we haven't seen any sort of reason to pick Mirage. TSM haven't been flawless or anything, but, you know, just, yeah, no reason to think that Mirage will beat them. If Mirage does start to get points on the board, start to look a little bit better in the season, this is probably not when they start doing it. So, indeed, I'm going to go with TSM here. And I guess I'll mention which ones I got right for the previous day. So, I got this one wrong. I picked Sonics when it was, in fact, Parabellum over Sonics in the result, but I did get the other 4 right. It was Space Station over Mirage, Oxygen over Astralis, TSM over Xset, and Dark Zero over Beast Coast. This one was really close, though. It went all 15 rounds, and Dark Zero had to make a little bit of a comeback. They were down 3-5 at one point. So I think I have 7 out of 10 predictions right so far. And okay, we'll move on to the second one, Space Station versus Astralis. So this will be the toughest challenge for Space Station yet. They haven't really been challenged that hard. They only had to play against Xset and Mirage, which look like perhaps the 2 weakest teams so far, but both of those teams have had to fight tough teams. You know, Mirage had to fight SSG and TSM, or no, not TSM, Dark Zero, and Xset had to fight Space Station and TSM. And Astralis still, again, not one of those classic top 5 teams, but they did take down one of the top 5 teams in Sonics, and they didn't put up, honestly, that big of a fight against Oxygen. They got 3 rounds. It was pretty whatever. So at the moment, Astralis look like sort of a middle table team, and if they can win this game, maybe they advance more to the top tables. But I think Space Station will take it. There were maybe just a few rounds where Space Station looked a little bit shaky versus specifically Xset, but not even that bad. They did have to clutch out a few of the rounds that they did end up winning, but the clutch factor is there, and they look better and better every day. Hot and Cold really woke up on the second play day. Bosco and Skies seem to settle more into their roles. They're both still sort of playing support kind of things, but Skies not so much on the hard support, and Bosco on the hard support / IGL, and then maybe we'll even see Fultz and Rampy pick it up a little bit in this game. We'll have to see, but I'll go with Space Station over Astralis. Pretty safe pick. For the most part, I'm sure they'll have a lot more of the votes, but I mean, maybe we'll see an upset just like we saw when we saw Astralis over Sonics on the first play day. Oxygen versus Beast Coast. So Oxygen, I put at the very top of the power rankings, and I had Beast Coast at, I think, 6th place, so the top of the bottom half of the power rankings. This would be a massive win for Oxygen. They, I mean, nearly beat Dark Zero. They could have beat them in regulation if they just won one more round in regulation, and I mean, I guess same thing in overtime. They just needed to win one more round in overtime. So very close, but I think Oxygen have looked stronger than Dark Zero, and well, again, it is sort of just off the back of the one game mostly, because we have only seen 2 games. I'll go with Oxygen over Beast Coast. This would be a bit of an upset, but one that I don't think is completely out of the realm of possibility. But Oxygen have just looked super good, and Beast Coast have looked, you know, maybe better than people expected, but still not good enough to beat Oxygen, certainly in the predictions. Good enough to be able to beat them, but not good enough to be likely to beat them. Okay, so indeed, Oxygen for the third prediction. And then Sonics versus Xset. So this is perhaps the hardest one to call for the day. They're both at the bottom of the standings with 0 points. I guess Xset's technically, what, like 8th, because they have better round differential than Mirage and Sonics. And yeah, Sonics dead last because they have the worst round differential of all the teams that have 0 points. So who do I want to go with here? It's tough to call. I mean, I guess Xset technically have looked slightly better than Sonics, just in the number of rounds that they've taken, but Sonics is indeed a proven team. If there is one team that they can beat while having struggles, which they seem to have been having thus far, it is probably Xset, or, well, I suppose Mirage, but maybe Xset is the other team, the second team. Yeah, I think Sonics will probably bounce back here, but if Xset do manage to win this, then I guess Sonics really have some really big issues, or maybe this will just be the turnaround point for Xset when they start proving themselves, because once again, they did have that pretty tough first week. And if Sonics are back to their normal selves, it will continue to be a tough opening to the season. I'll go with Sonics here, and maybe I will be fooled once again. 2 of my 3 incorrect predictions thus far have come from Sonics losing, so hopefully we don't make it 3 for 3, but it's been enough time, and if this were Beast Coast, I might go with Beast Coast, but I think this match will especially inform the result of this one. If Beast Coast can beat Oxygen and Sonics lose to Xset, then I think I might have to go with Beast Coast, but we'll see what happens when we get there. So I'll go with Sonics, and again, I'm just going with the top versus the bottom thing, but it is what it is. That is sort of how it looks. I mean, Beast Coast have looked scary as far as the bottom tier teams have gone, but Oxygen is sort of just at the top of everybody right now. Space Station look really good. Mirage, unlikely to beat TSM. So we'll talk about the last one now. And so yeah, Sonics over Xset, and Dark Zero versus Parabellum. I think maybe this is the second hardest one to call. I think these last 2 are the biggest toss-ups. So Parabellum did manage to defeat the Sonics when they are oddly doing badly, and that was on Chalet, their best map, and they went almost overtime versus Beast Coast, and if they hadn't gone to overtime, you know, maybe they would have beaten them in overtime. So they've had a close game and then a pretty decisive victory over a good team which has been having issues. So that really could leave us anywhere, as there's just so many question marks going on with several teams' performances, including, I suppose, both teams that Parabellum has faced, and then, well, even here's Dark Zero, the team that just barely scraped a win against Beast Coast. So, right, so we have a little bit of a hierarchy going on. So Beast Coast beat Parabellum, Dark Zero beat Beast Coast. Does that mean Dark Zero should beat Parabellum? It's hard to call. Maybe Parabellum has waken up since that first play day when they played Beast Coast, whatever it is. I mean, I kind of want to pick Parabellum here just to not pick the same 5 teams to win again. But can I do that? I mean, I could do that, I suppose. Dark Zero did win. It did go 15 rounds. Dark Zero is notorious for going to overtime and almost always winning once they go to overtime for some reason. The map choice was, I think, a really big factor that went into the Parabellum victory. And I don't think they're going to be playing Chalet again for the rest of the season, considering there are 4 bans. Teams are just almost certainly going to ban against them always. Maybe we'll see like TSM or Space Station or another team that's really good on Chalet, but no, I mean, I think Parabellum, it just looks like their best map. It's going to be one of the maps that gets banned against them. And Dark Zero, so, I mean, we've seen all of their well, maybe not all of their players. I think we had a really good performance from Canadian in the second playday, a good one from Panba in the first playday, really good from NJR on both playdays. I'm not sure if we've seen Hyper or Eclipse pop off just yet. They've maybe had their rounds, but I don't know if they ended the scoreboard. Ended up being spectacular on the scoreboard by the end of the match. But oh man, I guess I'll go with Parabellum. I guess I'm just gonna do it. I really do think it could go either way. I mean, you know, just based on what's happened, Dark Zero has looked a little bit better. They have 5 points on the board versus Parabellum's 3 points. But you know, if one more round had gone Parabellum's way, they could have 4, and then maybe they could have snowballed it into 5 points versus Beast Coast. If Dark Zero had lost one more round, they could, I guess, even lose out on, they could go down to 3 points, they could go down to 4 points. Like, it's just super close. It's 2 points, but those points were earned off the back of just like 1 or 2 rounds apiece. And yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit of an upset if they win, but it's not going to be the craziest upset ever. Parabellum did just look super good in their last playday, and if they just continue the progression of just barely winning on the first playday, or sorry, barely losing on the first playday, and then, I mean, solid victory on the second playday, it should be an incredible victory here, or just another pretty solid victory. Dark Zero went from solid win to very shaky win, so maybe they are ready to lose here. I don't know. I guess I just have a little bit of a feeling, and a little bit of it is just not wanting to pick exactly the same 5 teams again. So I'm gonna go for Parabellum. It also gives me the ability to root for the team I want to root for. I do want to root for Parabellum here. I've been liking watching them thus far, and usually if I predict a team, I'm just like automatically rooting for them. But now I can root for the team I actually want to root for here, which is just a nice little bonus, I suppose. So okay, I mean, we'll see if I get that one right. I pretty well expect to get these first 3 right. I think it's pretty likely. Maybe one of them has a little bit of a surprise. And these 2, I think, could potentially go either way. I feel like this is where Sonics wake up and they beat Xset, but Xset might end up getting like 4 or 5 rounds, and then, oh, we'll see if Parabellum can do it. If they can, then, I mean, they're just looking like, you know, maybe they're actually in the top 5 current standings, or, I mean, that might actually just put them into the top 5, depending on how things go. But, okay, yeah, so that's going to be my predictions. We'll see how many I get right, and I suppose, I mean, what, tomorrow I'll probably have to do the predictions for day number 4, because that will be the day before play day number 4, and or unless I upload it, I guess the day of. It doesn't start till whatever time in the day. And okay, so let me know if you guys have any wild predictions, if you think one of these 3 games will go the other way, or I mean even the other 2 games, but again, these are the ones that I would be the most surprised to see go the other way. And well, if you think Sonics is just going to keep being bad and Xset's going to beat them, or if you think I'm a fool for picking Parabellum over Dark Zero, yeah, any of that, let me know. You know, any other comment, leave me a like, leave me a sub, all of this good stuff. And all right, I will catch you guys in the next video.